because that's the only time when you meet the girl of your dreams, or you meet the girl that you want to date, you don't all of a sudden feel overwhelmed. And that feeling of being overwhelmed is what drives these guys to like fail, because they can do it. They're like, oh man, I can do it with girls I'm not interested in. But as soon as she's a 10, I freak out. Well, every girl needs to be a 10.
All right, day 5 for me, day 6 for Dan. And we were coaching earlier together actually. I coached one guy, Dan coached another one, but in the beginning, me, Dan, and one of the clients, very successful client, we were sitting together, and Dan said this line that was amazing, and I wanted to share it with you guys. That's why I got him here. And it was, when you're approaching a girl, imagine it's your dream girl, because the client that we were teaching, he just loves Mexicans, because he lives in San Diego, so he just loves Mexicans. And what Dan told him is like, just imagine every girl you're approaching is a Mexican.
Yeah, every girl's your type. Every girl's
your type.
So it doesn't matter if she's like a 7, 8, or 7 or 8 that's blonde, or whatever. It doesn't matter, or even a 5, whatever. It doesn't matter. Every girl it's just like, you have to be on point. Like, you have to be match ready.
Yeah.
It's about being match ready. So every girl you speak to, you treat them like it's the girl that you want to speak to. And if you don't, what happens is you become lazy. You kind of like don't really pay attention. You don't look for cues. You don't look for links that you can utilize for more questioning. You kind of then play the game really basic. So every girl you speak to, you just got to think to yourself, it's game time. This is the girl I want. It's the girl I want to date. She's exactly my type. And I just go in. So when you do that, you're always going to be focused. It's important to do that, because that's the only time when you meet the girl of your dreams, or you meet the girl that you want to date, you don't all of a sudden feel overwhelmed. And that feeling of being overwhelmed is what drives these guys to like fail, because they can do it. They're like, oh man, I can do it with girls I'm not interested in. But as soon as she's a 10, I freak out. Well, every girl needs to be a 10. Every girl needs to have a banging body. Every girl needs to have everything. All you got to think of is, all I want to do is I just want this girl to fall in love with me. I want this girl to eat out of my hand. How do I do it? Game time every single set. So you put maximum effort and literally no regret. The moment you start lowering like your thought process, she's not my type. Yeah, she might be a beautiful blonde. I'm not asking you to go out there and speak to a girl who is like 1 to 5, 1 to 6, like none of that. Like you're approaching hot girls, but like you can't say, oh, she's blonde, not my type.
Focus is.
I'm not into blondes, but you know, if I was learning, I'd be like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna treat blondes like they're my type. That's the thing.
And a little bit of that is excuses, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because guys just want to make an excuse not to approach, and I do it. You know, a lot of times as well. I'll see a girl and she's not my type, and I'm like, oh, she's not my type, I don't want to approach. But guess what? If I approach that one, imagine she's exactly my type. Now I'm training. Now I'm training for that girl that I really like.
Yeah.
And I used to do this a lot when I was learning, but now as I guess it's like an advanced sticking point. When you get really good, you're like, oh no, I don't want to approach that one. I just want to approach the one that I like, right?
Yeah. And
it's easy to fall into that habit. So when you're learning, it's even more important to actually, to approach the ones that, as Dan said, you're kind of into. So make sure you go in and practice just like you would when she's your type. Because I remember I read this quote, and it was like about Usain Bolt, the sprinter. He said he trains like 120%, but when he's competing, he's at 85%, and he beats everyone else.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. When you're training in dating, is when you're talking to a girl that you're not 100% into, right? If you're giving it all you have, when you meet that girl that's your dream girl, then even if you give 85%, you're gonna get her, because you've been practicing all that time.
Exactly. So you got it's like I said to the guy, you're a boxer. San Diego's where the fight's gonna be, but Vegas is where you're training. This is your training camp. And in this training camp, every girl you speak to is a sparring partner. So you need that person that you're sparring with to be equivalent to the person you're gonna be fighting with, right? And you're not going to be fighting girls, but let's say like fighting with. So you are ready. You're putting yourself at your limits, and you're pushing yourself to your limits. You're doing nothing but focusing on it being the girl I want. How do I want her? How am I going to take her? How am I going to get her home? How am I going to, like, you know, create babies? Damn! Like, how are you going to do it? So that's like, it's that. You put that put 100% into this. Every time you meet the girl of your dreams, the girl that you want, you'll go there. All of a sudden, you're not stressing yourself 120%. All of a sudden, you are in the zone, you're within yourself, and you can relax.
Yeah, I remember we were in London and we were going from one place to another with the students. And you said this to the student. You were like, yeah, you got to flirt with the old lady, you know, at the supermarket. You got to flirt with the girl at the bar. You got to flirt. You have to do it all the time. You know, you always have to be training. And this is the way that you're going to improve super fast.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine just approaching the girls you want, right? If you do that, how many are you going to be approaching a week? Compared to if you flirt with every girl you speak to, if you're always practicing, then that way you're improving 10 times more than any other guy out there.
Yeah. And this is the way. #Mandalorian.